Hi, my name is Charles Barksdale and I'm with the Texas Rowing Center. Today I'll be giving you a brief introduction into the world of rowing. If we look at this boat here, we have a sculling shell or a single. We have many types of rowing equipment, but this is made for one person. We have equipment that goes for people up to 8. In rowing, unlike most sports where you think of kayaking or canoeing, you use your legs more than you use your upper body. So the seat moves here to allow you to get full use of your legs. Rowing is actually considered second in overall body workout, right behind cross-country skiing. Rowers are some of the fittest athletes in the world. Rowing can be taken to any level that you'd like. You can row at the Olympics, or you can go out here and have a nice tool on the lake. It's a beautiful sport. One of the odd things about rowing, though, is you travel backwards. You don't see where you're going, you just see where you've been. And that's kind of unusual for most people, but it really gives you a good scenery of what you've just covered. The boats are very expensive. These are very light. This is the same boat you would see in the Olympics. This boat costs around $6,000. It's made out of unidirectional carbon fiber. The boat actually is 27 to 30 feet long and it only weighs 28 pounds. So it's very light and very stiff, which is amazing considering that it holds the weight of a rower here who can be over 200 pounds. In the 8 shells, they have rowers up to 1,750 pounds and the boat's only 200 pounds and it can support their weight and take them down the lake. We have Catherine here to show us how to get into a boat. First thing we do once we have our boat on the water is we want to adjust our foot stretchers and make sure that the oars are in the proper position. Every boat is adjustable, so different size people can row the same equipment. You have the ability to adjust your shoes, and you also have the ability to adjust the height of the oar locks. Now, she's going to show us getting in, and one of the most important safety aspects of this is we want to make sure that we have the oars properly extended. The oars are your sense of balance. By having them extended, it's going to keep you stable. This boat is 20 feet long, and with the oars extended, it's now 20 feet wide. That's a very large boat, and if you hold on to the oars at all times, you can go ahead and hop on in, the boat should be very stable. Getting in the boat at first is a little bit unsettling, but if you just go nice and slow, putting one foot in and ease yourself down the seat, it works out just fine. One of the odd things about rowing is you are traveling backwards, and if you're familiar with sailing terms, this kind of has a tendency to confuse people at times. The left side of the boat is the port, the right side of the boat is the starboard, but since you're going backwards in the boat, this ends up being reversed to you. We also have the bow and the stern, and most people think the way you're facing is towards the bow, but you're actually going backwards in this boat. So that's actually the bow, and this is actually the stern. The first thing we want to cover is the grip. As with most sports, the grip is very important. What we want to do is have a feather-light grip using the fingers with the thumb on the end of the oar. This is going to keep the oar extended. Having the thumb on the end is going to keep the oar extended in the proper position. Just hold on to it with your fingers so you have a nice light grip. This is going to allow you to square and feather the blade properly, which is one of the most important things in rowing. We square the blades by turning our fingers and locking the blade straight up and down. There's a flat spot that matches up with another flat spot here in the oar lock that helps it seat itself. Then we go ahead and turn it back to the feather position and it locks itself into place. You also keep your hand on the end of the oar to give you the best leverage. This is a simple lever, and if my hand was to walk down here, we would lose a lot of leverage. So you want to keep your hand right on the end so you get the most out of each and every stroke. One thing people do in rowing is they hold on very tightly, and what we want to do is think about keeping a nice light grip so we keep our upper body relaxed. If you imagine yourself hanging from a pull-up bar, you don't need to grab the pull-up bar to hold on to it. You just use your hand as a hook. And it's very important that we just use our hand as a hook to pull the blade, draw the blade into the body. This keeps us nice and relaxed and helps the stroke work fluently. One of the things about this, like golf per se, is there's a lot of technology built into the oar. So if we let the oar do some of the work, it's going to help us out. We'll be going into how to steer one of the rowing crafts right now. This is Catherine, and what she's going to be doing is showing us the first way to steer, which is similar to if you would row a canoe or paddle a canoe or a kayak, where you just use one paddle, the other oar keeps you stable, and you just use one oar to move yourself around. In rowing, you always do the complete motion where you feather and square the blade, and this will turn the boat very easily for you. This is for making drastic steering changes like turning around. Now, if you're to make subtle changes, like to keep yourself in a line, what you do is reach out a little further with one hand than the other. We're going to have Catherine go out to the catch and reach out just a little further with her left, and there we go. And now we're going to row with both. So, and by reaching out just a little bit further with one, she makes that stroke a little bit longer, and that allows her to turn the boat just very slightly. Anything more than about 3 degrees is going to slow the boat down. So you want to turn very subtly, especially when you're racing. Hi, my name is Charles Barksdale, and we'll be going over the basics of the rowing stroke today. What we have here is Catherine's going to be demonstrating the proper rowing technique. And in rowing, you use your complete body, use your legs, your back, and your arms. We're going to have her slide forward to the catch. She's going to slide all the way up. And this is where you would catch or grab the water. You notice your legs are in proper position here, just like doing a power clean if you were working with weights. So she's going to push down with her legs first. The legs are going to go back. Once the legs are extended, she's going to unfold her back to allow her shoulders to get, and then she's going to pull her arms in. And that's the basics of the rowing stroke. Now, what happens here is now we're on the recovery, so she's got to get back forward. And this is where the balance is very important. You're letting the boat glide out, you're pushing your hands forward and letting the boat run. If you want to think about a sport, think about an ice skater as they push off and glide. And that's what the recovery is mainly to do. We'll show you that again. Push down with your legs, lean back, and then pull in with the arms. And we go back and do it again. Now, rowers typically take about 30 to 40 strokes per minute, so that's one every 2 seconds, so it's actually quite difficult. And in race season, they'll do up to 50. So, and rowing is all predicated on strokes per minute rather than miles per hour. Everybody talks about how many strokes you're doing in a minute. We don't have speedometers on these boats, so we don't really know how fast we're going.
As you work to improve your rowing, it's helpful to be aware of common errors in rowing technique and how to avoid them. The purpose of this video is to illustrate a number of these common errors as well as drills that will help you to practice good rowing. We'll start with the arms and the hands. This is an example of poor grip. Try not to over-grip the indoor rower handle. There's no need to squeeze the handle. When rowing correctly, as seen here, fingers should be comfortably wrapped around the grip with thumbs underneath. Wrists should stay flat throughout the stroke cycle. The common error demonstrated here is breaking the arms at the catch. It's not effective to bend the arms right at the catch. Straight arms are more effective at connecting the handle to the powerful drive of the legs. When rowing well, start the drive with straight arms, saving the arm pull for later in the drive. This is an example of chicken wing arms. Avoid sticking your elbows out to the side at the finish. Rowing correctly, as you see here, it's most effective to draw the elbows past the body and keep the shoulders relaxed, not hunched. Here are a couple of drills to help you practice the correct use of the arms in the rowing motion. The first drill is body and arms rowing. Keep your legs extended and row just with your back and arms. Feel the back initiate the work before the arms bend. The second drill is pausing at the finish. Complete the drive, then pause with the legs extended, body at the 11 o'clock position, elbows past the body, and handle touching the body. When pausing, check to be sure that your shoulders are low and relaxed and your hands have a relaxed grip on the indoor rower handle. Next, we'll review some common errors related to the back. This is an example of lunging at the catch. Avoid lunging forward just before the catch. Establish the proper forward lean of the upper body early in the recovery sequence, before bending the knees. Shoulders should be in front of the hips before you move into full compression. Here we see overreaching at the catch. Do not try to reach too far toward the flywheel as it puts you in a less effective position. Aim for 1 o'clock on a clock face with shoulders in front of the hips. Next we see lifting with the back at the catch. Do not lift your shoulders or back at the catch. When rowing correctly, as we see here, press with the legs first, then use the back. Another common error is rowing with too much layback. Don't lean back too far at the end of your drive. Correct rowing is pivoting back to 11 o'clock on a clock face and pulling the handle into your body. Here is a drill to help you practice the most effective use of the back in the rowing motion. The drill is called Pause at 1 o'clock. Finish the drive, extend your arms and set your forward lean, then pause before sliding forward. Row each stroke with a pause. Repeat over 10 strokes. Now let's look at the errors that affect how the legs are used in the rowing motion. The most common fault is bending the knees too early on the recovery, which forces the arms to row too high or in an arc. We see with correct rowing technique that it's most efficient to keep the chain level in a horizontal line throughout the drive. The arms extend, the body swings to allow the hands and handle to clear the knees before the knees bend. This is a demonstration of rushing the slide. Moving too quickly toward the catch will prevent you from having an efficient rhythm and causes ineffective rowing. Give yourself time in the recovery to breathe and set up the right positions for the work of the drive. This is an example of overcompressing. Don't try to slide too far forward at the catch. Your shins should not move beyond vertical when your legs are compressed. When rowing well, notice how at the catch our rower's knees are directly above her ankles and her shins are vertical. Another common error is shooting the slide as shown here. Don't let the legs shoot back without the body and, more importantly, the handle. The work of the legs and the back should overlap. As the legs are used up, add the body to maintain the speed of the handle. Here are 2 drills to help you practice the most effective use of the legs in the rowing motion. The first drill is a ratio drill. Count to yourself out loud to create a balance between the speed of the drive and the speed of the recovery. You should spend a little more time on the recovery than on the drive. The second drill is legs only. This motion spotlights the initial movement of the drive. Nothing about your upper body position changes, and the work of the legs is limited. Including some of these drills in your regular warm-up is a great way to keep your technique correct and effective. Whenever possible, watch yourself in the mirror while rowing indoors. Review this video periodically to reinforce good technique.